this video, we are going to see about the Figma fundamentals. Here I am going to cover the Figma interfaces, frames and stacks, layers, and the concept of the sizings. I am going to teach you detailedly about these concepts. So without making any much delay, let's get into the video. So first, let's understand the Figma interfaces. Here comes the left bar and here comes the right bar. At top, we will be having a top bar. At first, let's cover the top bar. When you go here, you can find the Figma logo that is called a menu. If I click on it, you can view all the plenty of options. If you want to go to the dashboard, you can click to the dashboard, so it will take you to the dashboard, and then you can find the file menus. Here you can able to see the plenty of the options from here, and even you have the edit menu, and again you have the plenty of options. Just go through it in order to understand the each options. Okay, next comes the insert option. If I click on it, here you can find the plenty of basics where you can create the sections, navigations, the menus, and even you can use of this a wireframe in order to create the wireframe just by giving the prompt. So if I click on it, a new wireframe will be formed. So if you want to use this option, you have to go to the insert option. And here, coming to the section, you can find the plenty of sections. That is the pre-built section. So from here you can drag and drop inside it, and then you can able to work around on it. Here comes the CMS. You can add the collections and fields. Here you can find the plenty of elements, medias, that is for the icons. Here you can find the bunch of icons elements. You can use the iconic, prospers, hero, feather, anything you want. The next comes the media. From here you can able to use the image options, GIF, videos, and animation and audio. Everything can be found inside the media. The next comes the form. You have the pre-built form builder, and if you want to use any of the loops, Git, MailChimp, FormSpack, that also can be found here. And again you have the embeds for the call.com, Typeform, Calendly, Intercom, and HubSpot. The next we have the interactive. From here you can choose up with the ticker, slideshow, carousel, cookie banner. Everything can be found inside this interactive elements. Next we have the social, and next we have some of the utility elements, and here we have the creative elements, and everything can be found inside this insert. The next comes the layout. From here you can add the frame, rows, columns, grid, image, and video. We will see about this later. So in order to add any of the layout that can be found from here. The next is the text. In order to add the text like this, you need to click on this text, or else you can use the keyboard option of T. The next is the vector. You can able to create the vectors instead of going to the Figma. You can directly create the vectors from here. Here we have the rectangle, oval, polygon, star, and path. Everything can be found here. Just by using this, you can create the vector. The next is the CMS. From the CMS, you can able to create the new collection. If you want to create the new collection, you have to click on this add, so the new collections can be add. And then in the center you can able to see the name. So if I click on this particular text, you can able to see the name. So from here you can able to give the name of this particular project, and also you can select in which projects it have to be stored. So everything can be done from here. The next thing is the member. So those who are the member of this particular project can be found here. So if I click on it, you can able to see the members that can access this project. If you want, you can add the members just typing the email ID, and you have to send the invite request to them and from the email, so that they can be able to be the member of this particular project. The next is locally selection. So from here you can set the default languages, and even you can set the any other languages that you want. The next is the analytics. From here you can able to understand the analytics of this particular project. This is the preview. If I click on it, you can able to preview this particular project, so that you can able to get the idea how it will look in the browsers. And the breakpoints can be found from here. Just click on the necessary breakpoint point so that you can able to understand the project. And the next is invite. As I have already said, you can able to send the invite to the particular member. And the next thing is publish. If we click on the publish, it will actually go to the subdomain. This is the subdomain that is given by the framer itself. So all the necessary changes that have been done inside this project will be saved, and if I click on this update, those particular update will be reflected to this particular domain. Just let me show you. If I click on it, it just goes to this domain. So if I type on this, that particular project can be viewed inside the browser itself. Okay, that's it about the top bar. Next is the left bar. Here we have three labels, one with the pages, layers, and assets. If you want to switch between this option, you have to use the option 1, 2, 3. In the PC, you have to use Alt 1, 2, 3. So likewise, you can switch between these options. The number one is pages. Here you can able to find the pages that you have created inside this project. So all the pages can be found here. If you want to create the new pages, just go to the plus icon. Here you can find the plenty of options. So if you click on the new pages, a new pages will be created so that you can able to identify that particular page. And if you wish to rename it, just double click on it, or you have to click on these three dots and go to the rename so that you can able to change the name of this particular page. And for the new CMS page, again you have to go to the add page and CMS page, and then you can able to add the CMS. If you want to add the 404 page, even that can be done with the use of this 404 page. And then you can able to create the new folder. If I click on this new folder, a new folder will be created. For example, let me give it as sample, and if you want, you can drag it inside this. Okay, and even if we want to change this particular folder into the page, that can be done just by clicking on this three dot and just choose the convert to page. Even that particular folder can be changed into the pages, and then you can able to sort it alphabetically so that it can be arranged alphabetically. The next comes a design page. So if you click on this, you can able to create the new design page. In this design page, you can exactly create the design of this particular project that previously you will be doing in the Figma. So instead of relying in the Figma, you can directly create the design inside this design page. So all the necessary design that you are planning can be done directly inside the design pages. So if you are okay with this particular design, you have to just click on this, just do the right click. And if you choose up with the create web page, this particular design automatically will be created as a web page, and inside that web page you can do the necessary changes for this particular project. So this is the use of this design page. And next we have the canvas. So inside this canvas you can use this as a mood board. So all the mood boards you are having in the mind, so that can be implemented inside this canvas. So all the assets can be stored inside this canvas, and you can able to use those assets for the project. So this is the pages panel, and now let's go to the layers. So this is the layers. Let me explain you what's the use of this. So coming to the layers, all the elements that you are creating inside the canvas will be reflected inside this layers section. So if I click on this particular text, that particular text can be viewed inside this layer. So it will be easy for you to navigate in which layer we are currently in. So if I click on it, it is directing me to the container. So let me explain you with another thing. Here we have a hero section, and if I collapse it, here we have a container. These hero section and container name is given by us. Just understand the concept. Okay, so here we have the hero section, and then we have the container. Again, if we collapse it, we can find the another layers. That is the content wrap. Inside this we have another layer. So this is called the nesting of the layers. So if I click on this particular image, that particular layer can be found inside this layers. So this is the usage of this layers. Next we have the assets. So inside these assets we can find the plenty of options. Here we have a templates. By using this we can able to create the new templates, that is for the layout templates. Let me explain you with an example. Here comes a navbar and footer layout template. So let me get into it. Here you can find the navbar, a footer. So in every website we have a pages, right? So in each of the pages the navbar and footer will be the same. Instead of repeating that navbar and a footer again and again in all of the pages, we are using the layout templates. So inside this layout template you can able to place on this navbar and footer. Okay, and if you go to any of the pages and you have to go to this template here. This is the template. So if you create this layout template, that can be useful for the n number of pages that you are going to create. And if you want to create the new template, you have to press on this new template. If you click on it, you need to give the appropriate name for this a template, and you have to click on the create. And then you can add the necessary elements that need to be embed inside this particular layout template. So this is the concept of this templates. And then we have the components. The components that we are going to create will be seen inside this particular components. If you want to create the new component, just click on the plus icon. You can able to create the new component. Even the new folder can be created. And here comes the styles. All the stylings that you are going to do that can be found inside this styles. All the text styles that you are going to create will be inside this text. The heading 1, heading 2, paragraph and everything. And you can able to create the link styles and also the color styles. So every styles that you are going to create will be embedded inside the styles. As I have already mentioned, we can able to create the vectors, and all the vectors that we are going to create will be inside this vector panel. And all the codings that you are going to embed for this project can be found as a file inside here. So this is the left bar. Then comes the right section. So this is called the properties panel. So the particular properties can be found inside this properties. Okay. So if I go to this particular section, that is this section, and the properties of this particular section can be found here. All the necessary thing that we are going to do can be done directly inside this property pages. And in the center comes the canvas. Here only we will be creating a project. And in the bottom you can find another option, and the first one will be the selection option. This selection option can be used to select the particular elements. The next is the pan option, that is with the hand icon. If I click on this hand icon, you can able to drag the particular canvas. Even you can do it by using the space bar and with the mouse dragging option. And then we have the command option. If I click on it and just doing here, the command can be given here, and all the command can be found here. Okay, the next option is the dark mode and light mode. You can able to change the theme of this interface. And then we have the plugins option. All the necessary plugins can be found here. Just let me search for Prosper, Lumi and Splash. So every plugins can be found by just using this plugin option. And the next one is zoom in and zoom out option. Just by using this you can able to zoom in or zoom out. And even you can do it by using the keyboard and the mouse. You have to click on the command or control button, and then you have to use the mouse scroll. Even the zooming option can be done from this itself. So these are all the interface of the Figma. Now let's understand the website structure. All the website structure will be based on the box model. Let's understand what is box model. Let me choose up with one of the website and let me inspect it for the better understandability. Okay, and let me select this. So here I'm just selecting this particular thing. This whole thing is act as a box, and inside the box I'm just selecting this particular text, and again this act as a box, and the another text, again this act as a box, and this particular button is also the box, and inside the box we have a text. Let me come to the next section. Here we have a whole box. In the green shade we have a whole box, and in the blue shade we have another box, that is nesting inside another box. And again inside the box we have another box that is in a blue color in order to hold the titles. And again below it we have another box that holds the features of this, right? So again inside this we have two boxes. One is for the image and the another one in order to hold this hold text. Okay, again we have in a blue color we have another box in order to hold the real time intelligence and also the paragraph. Okay, and again this text is a box and again this paragraph is a box. The same concept we will be seeing inside the frame. So this is the box and again we have another box. Let me show you in the layers. We have a feature section. This is the whole box and inside this we have another box that is a container, and again inside this we have another box that is the image wrap. Inside this we have a card. Okay, that is also a box. Again we have another box. Inside it we have another box and another box for the text and another box for these features. So this is how the box modeling will be work. So we have understand what is the box model, but how to create this particular box model. So in order to create these boxes, we need frames. So in order to create this box structure, in Framer, we will be using a frame. If you are familiar with the Figma, you have already known about the frames. Okay, so let me choose up with one of the pages. Here I am going to create a new frame. So in order to create the new frame, either we can use the keyboard key or the option which is available in the Framer. So if you want, you can just click on the F key so that you can able to see this plus icon. Or you can go to the layout. Here you can find the option of frame. Okay, just click and drag, a new frame will be created. So this will be act as a box. Okay, and again if you want to create another box, again just click on the F key and click and drag and another frame will be created. So this is how the frames have to be created. You can able to adjust the sizing of this frame and even you can copy this frame just by using the option or alt key and click and drag. You can able to create the new frame. So this is how you need to create the new frames. Even you can use the layout option with the rows, just click and drag. Here you can create the rows layout, and if you want to create the columns, you can create the something like this. So you can either use of this layout option or you can use the F key in order to create the frames. And now we have created with a text and buttons. We wish to put it inside this particular box. So if we create it like this, how to do that? So in order to do that, so just select all those and just right click, and here you can find the add frame. Either you can create the add frame or you can use the command or control enter. So if you do that, the new frame will be created. And if in case if you don't want this particular frame, use command or control delete. So that particular frame will be vanished. So this is how you need to play around with the frames so that you have understand what is the box model, and in order to create that box model, we will be using the frames inside this framework. Okay, and also you have understand how to create the frames. Next, let's see about the sizing. Coming to the sizing, we have the 5 types of sizing. Those are fixed, relative, fill, fit content, and viewport. The sizing can be found in the right bar, that is the properties panel. Here you can find the size, and here you can able to see the width, height, and coming to the width and height, the width can be determined based on the sizing option. It can be either fixed, relative, fill, or fit. Okay, the width can be determined only with the 4 sizing, and coming to the height can be determined with the 5 sizing, that is with a viewport. Okay, now let's see about the fixed sizing. Coming to the fixed sizing, the particular width will be fixed. For example, I have created with a new frame, and that particular width, this is the width, right? The particular width can be given it manually. For example, let me give it as 300. So it will be adjusted based on the 300. For example, let me give it as 600. It will be fixed. That particular width can't be changed. In order to explain it clearly, let me preview this. So regardless of the browsers, this particular frame width can't be changed because we have given with the fixed width. So if I reduce it considerably and let me preview this, again this particular width can't be changed regardless of any of the browser. The particular width size will be constant. So whatever the browser may be, that won't be changed. So this is the concept of the width. Again, you can able to adjust the height of this particular frame, and again that will be in a fixed size. So this is the concept of the fixed size. Now let's see about the relative sizing. Coming to the relative sizing, let me click on it. Here that relative sizing can be chosen by using this option. You have to select this relative. So if you select on it, it will be based on the percentage. Okay. So if I make this width to be in 100%, it will occupy the full spacing. Okay. Let me again change it as 50%. If I make it as 100%, it will occupy the full spacing of its parent. Okay, the relative position will be based on its parent. Okay, let me again explain you with another example. Let me create a frame. Okay, this will be the frame, and here I am just creating another frame. Now let me choose this particular frame. In order to make this frame to be in relative, I have selected this particular frame and going to the width, and let me choose the with the relative. Okay, here it's automatically changing that percentage to 57%. Okay, now let me make it as 100%. Okay, now it occupies the full width of its parents. So the parent of this particular frame is this one. Okay, let me change the color for the better understandability. Let me make it as black. Okay, now for this black one, we have set the width to be in 100%. Okay, and which is the parent of this particular black. This blue one is the parent of this black frame. Okay, for example, I have given it as 450. Even if I have increased the width of it, the black is also occupying the full width because we have mentioned the width to be in 100%. So that's why this particular black frame is depending on its parent. So whatever the parent width may be, it will occupy the 100% of its space. Okay, now let me change the width to be in 75%. It's occupying only the 75% of its parent. So if I decrease the size of its parents, it's only occupying the 75% of its width. If I make it as 50%, again it will occupy only the 50%. Let me decrease it. It's only occupy the 50% of its width. Okay, and again for the 25%, it will occupy the 25%. Let me make it as 100. So the relative position will be based on its parent. If we want to make the particular frame that to be dependent on its parent, and also that you want to occupy the full width of its parent, you have to use the relative positioning. Okay, so the same thing follows for the height. If I make the relative to be in 50%, it will occupy the 50% of its height. If I make it as 100%, it will occupy the entire thing of its parents. So if I give the width to be in 100% and height to be in 100%, the both thing will occupy the full width of its parent. Okay, if I make this particular thing as 50%, it will occupy only the 50% of this parent's width. So this is the concept of the relative size. And next thing we have is fill. The fill is also like the relative. Again, it will be based on its parent. The fill and relative, both things are based on its parent. But only the thing is the fill will be based on this sibling. Here we have two fills. These two fills are siblings to each other. I will explain you with the relative. Okay, so coming to the relative, I have made the width to be in 100%. Let me make the sibling to this relative. That is, I'm just duplicating it. Here, can you see it? It's not adjusting because both the sibling have the 100% of this relative. Okay, it will occupy the 100% and both these siblings will not compromise to each other. So for these cases, we will be using the fill concept. So here, can you see it? Both this fill is compromising with each other. That is, it's adjusting the space to each other. Now let me explain you. Let me disable this. So this is the first fill. If I make the width to be in 1 FR, again it will occupy full width of its parent space. Okay, and if I make the width to be in 0.7 FR, it will occupy only the 75% of this space. If I make it as 0.5 FR, it will occupy only the 50% of its parent. The same as the relative. Now let me include the another fill. Okay, I have included the another fill. Coming to this fill, the width is 1f4. Here, one of the sibling is 1f4 and another sibling is 0.f4. So, based on the space of its parent, it's compromising its space. Okay, if I make the second one to be in 2f4, it will compromise the space, that is giving the space to its sibling also. Okay, so it is occupying the 2f4 and also it's giving the sum of the part to its sibling also. Okay, if I make it as 1f4, okay, the 2f4 is big, so it's occupying the extra spaces than the 1f4 sibling. Okay, if I make it as 1f4, it will compromise to each other. It will equally divide the space to each other. Again, I'm just explaining. If I make the one of the sibling to be in 0.5f4, it will occupy only the particular space, that is available space, and remaining space will be occupied with the 1f4 holder. If I make it as 0.f4, again it will compromise the space because both are in 0.f4, 0.f4, so it will compromise the space. If I make it as 2f4, it will occupy the 2f4 space and leaving the remaining space to its sibling. So, this is the difference between the relative position and the fill position. Okay. Now, let's see about the fit content. Now, coming to the fit content will be based on its child. Okay. The relative and the fill sizing will be based on its parent, but coming to the fit, it will be based on its child. Okay. For example, let me create one frame and I am pasting some of the content. Okay, so now I'm just choosing this particular frame. Let me go to the width. Let me make it as fit content. So, based on the content which is inside here, the width will be adjusted. And again, if I make the height to be in fit content, so based on the content which is inside it, the fit content will be applied. Now, if I create a content, it's getting bigger and bigger. Okay, so based on the content, the height will be increased. That is based on the child of it. So, the height will be based on the content inside it. Okay, and coming to the width, and let me add some of the text. Okay, so based on the content we are adding, the width will be increased. Okay, so the fit content will be based on its child, but the relative and the fill will be based on its parent. Okay, so that you have understand the difference between the fixed, relative, fill and fit content. So next is viewport. So coming to the viewport, that can be applied only for the height. So that can be chosen up from the option here. Okay, so if I make the viewport height to be in 100, it will occupy the full screen regardless of any devices. So, whatever the device you are holding, it will occupy the full screen. For example, let me preview this. It will occupy the full height of the screen. Okay, if I make the height to be in 80 viewport, it will occupy only the 80% of the screen size. See, it will occupy only the 80%. And if I make it as 50, it will occupy only the 50%. So, again, let me make it as 100. So if in cases you need the particular element to occupy the full height of the screen, regardless of the devices, you can use the viewport. So that you have understand the sizing option, that is fixed, relative, fill, fit content and viewport. I hope you have really enjoyed this video. If you really like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more Framer tips and web design tips. And don't forget to share it with your fellow designer. See you in the next one.